Tech can be confusing. Whether it's the tech from today,
and we are calling it iPhone,
or even the tech from yesterday.
Hi, this is the Bell System's new touch-tone dialing.
Let's make it easy. This is the Byte-sized podcast. Let's talk about movies at home. Before the sleek discs, before the instant gratification of streaming, the living room landscape was dominated by this hefty piece of plastic, known as the VHS cassette. What is this thing? VHS stands for Video Home System. Catchy, right? Developed by JVC back in the mid-1970s, it wasn't actually the first attempt at bringing video recording and playback into the home, but it was the one that stuck. Think about what Video Home System actually signified back then. It was revolutionary. Up until that point, your visual entertainment at home was largely dictated by whatever was on TV. If you missed your favorite show, well, tough luck. Movies? Well, you saw them in the theater or maybe years later edited for TV with commercial breaks. VHS changed the game entirely. Suddenly, you were in control. You could watch a movie whenever you wanted, right there on your own couch. Anyways, this episode isn't about VHS, but instead those spinny discs.
DVD. See it. Hear it. Feel it. DVD.
Unless you were born after 2020, I think it's safe to say you've used one. They're round, they're shiny, they have a hole in the middle, and they're sometimes used as drink coasters. From a physical size perspective, DVDs are much more compact. If you were to stack a bunch of DVDs together, you would actually need 20 of them to equate to the same thickness as one single VHS tape. And not only are they physically superior, from a technical standpoint, they are miles ahead as well. The real game changer here is that they're digital. VHS stored video using magnetic patterns on tape, an analog method. DVDs store video and audio information as digital code. Basically, a massive string of ones and zeros etched into little microscopic pits on the disc's surface. This was a huge leap. Being digital meant the potential for much sharper picture quality, clearer sound, and greater durability compared to easily degradable magnetic tape. The data, all those ones and zeros representing the picture and sound, is physically stamped onto the disc as billions of microscopic bumps, or what they call pits, and they're arranged in a long, continuous spiral that starts near the center and winds its way around outwards. When you pop a DVD into the player, it starts spinning rapidly. Inside the player, a precisely focused laser beam shines onto that spiral track, reading what are essentially binary ones and zeros. It takes that flood of ones and zeros and uses specific instructions to reconstruct the high-quality digital video and audio signals. My favorite part is how they're made. It's basically a foil sandwich. Plastic on top that you put the movie title printed on, then very thin and fragile foil that contains the data, and then finally one more layer of plastic that protects the foil from damage. When you buy a DVD at the store with your favorite movie or TV show, those discs were made by taking a master stamp and then stamping them onto your disc's foil. But some people put their own content on discs at home. How does that work without an expensive stamp? Well, instead of stamping, you buy a blank, burnable disc. If you have a DVD player in your computer that's compatible, you would pop the disc in and the player would literally burn microscopic holes into your disc, creating those binary pits that make up the data. This is a process that I actually personally use very often. Why? Well, because it's cool, but also because it really is a pretty cost-effective way of storing information. If I have data that I don't plan on using anytime soon, I'll use a disc as an archive. If stored properly, a DVD can last decades or even a century. Compared to hard drives that seem to die on me all the time, these are a great alternative. In fact, my brother works as a CSI with the police department, and they use those things for storing footage too. So see, I'm not weird. But something is missing. We've covered VHS, DVD, but Blu-ray.
You've got the HD TV, but you're not watching movies in HD. Unless you're watching on Blu-ray High Def.
Fundamentally, Blu-rays are the same thing. No, literally, the way they work is exactly the same, but with one key difference. And it's right in the name. DVDs and Blu-rays use lasers to read data, but where DVDs use red lasers, Blu-rays use, well, blue lasers. Different colors. So what? But if we look at the wavelengths of different colored light, blue actually has more compressed waves than red. This being the case, Blu-rays are capable of storing much more data, because the pits can be more tightly packed together on the disc. A standard DVD can hold 4.7 gigs of data, but a Blu-ray? 25 gigs. And this is ignoring dual-layer discs that, we can talk about another time. So, this leads us to the latest, most popular form of watching TV and movies: streaming. Oh, streaming. Born out of people's laziness to get up and put a disc inside a player. And I get it. Why would I want to get off the couch, search through cupboards for the content that I want to watch, put it in, wait for it to open, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'll tell you why. You are getting scammed. See, on Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, whatever, you don't own what you're watching. One month you pay for Netflix to watch The Office, and the next month it's on Peacock. Peacock? Really? You're just paying for a temporary license to watch content that they say you can watch. And people are perfectly fine with that. But sometimes companies make shows exclusively for their platform, and then later on, remove them, never to be seen again. One of my favorite shows, The World According to Jeff Goldblum, it launched as a Disney Plus exclusive. A couple of years later, they removed it. The show didn't move anywhere else, they just simply decided that it didn't get enough viewership to continue hosting it on their servers. Did my bill go down? Well, of course not. In fact, it's since gone up. But regardless, that's not all. Some people buy individual digital copies of movies on YouTube, Apple TV, their Xbox, Amazon, wherever. But again, it's a license. Amazon got in hot water recently for removing content on their service that people literally purchased. And I'm putting purchased in air quotes here because all they did was buy a license. Yeah, it says buy, but it's only valid for as long as the company says it's valid. If the possibility of losing your media isn't enough to get you to go back to discs, I have one more thing for you. Quality. You see, millions of people stream per day. Netflix claims it delivers over 125 million hours of content every single day. The amount of compute power and server space that the streaming services need is astronomical, and it's expensive. In order to serve all this data, they simply have to cut corners. Imagine looking at a super big painting from far away. Maybe the painter knew you'd be looking at it from a distance, so they didn't add as many fine details because, you probably wouldn't see them unless you stared for a while. The painter saved time, it looks fine, but fundamentally, from close up, clearly there's missing detail. If there were more time and more resources, it would have looked better if they added the detail. But hey, at least it's big, am I right? Yeah, the painting looks cool when it's big. But if the artist needs to cut corners somewhere, I'd rather see a smaller painting with more detail, better color. But how does this have anything to do with streaming and physical media? Let's say you're watching a movie in 4K on Netflix. That sounds great. You get a rectangular box sent to your screen containing somewhere around 4,000 by 2,000 pixels. But it's not the frame size that matters, it's the detail. With streaming, the services have to compress the video down utilizing what's called the bitrate. The higher the bitrate, the better the detail within the frame, the more data that's used. So by using a lower bitrate, they save data. Now, your average 1080p Blu-ray has a bitrate of around 30 megabits per second. But your average 4K Netflix stream has a bitrate of around 15 megabits per second. So although the 4K Netflix stream has 4 times as many pixels, the actual amount of data within the video is about half of the 1080p Blu-ray. This being the case, I would argue that you would actually be better off watching a 1080p Blu-ray than you would be streaming that same piece of content in 4K on a streaming service. I believe there is simply more detail on a Blu-ray than there is streaming. Plus, we have 4K Blu-rays now. They have bitrates going up to 128 megabits per second, nearly 9 times larger than a 4K stream online. Plus, it's 4K, so you have the higher bitrate and you have the higher resolution. So everyone, please start buying discs again. You own them. They look better, and the cases are kind of cool too. Plus, they're the same price as buying the digital movie, and oftentimes they come with a digital copy too. So heck, if you really don't want to make the space for the physical disc, just take the digital copy and donate the disc to Goodwill so that I can buy it for $1. Anyways, the evolution of home entertainment is fascinating, but unlike VHS to DVD and DVD to Blu-ray, streaming is a step in the wrong direction. That's all, y'all. And that's your bite-sized breakdown for today. Catch you next time on the Byte-sized Podcast.